So yeah, I'm from Prince Edward Island, the smallest province in Canada, all the way over from the East Coast. Um, I started my dyeing journey in 2020. I guess 21 was when I really opened, like when I started on Shopify and put some things on. I started knitting in 2015 and just literally, oops, sorry, buddy, went down the rabbit hole. This is Zinfidel. He's my little sweetheart. I got him last year in Toronto. And yeah, he's my baby. Big boy, but my baby. So from I started knitting in 2015, and then from there I wanted to learn how to spin. So I connected with the guild here in the island, Spinning and Weaving Guild, and I learned how to spin and got my first spinning wheel. I now have one, two, three, four, five, no, four, because I just gave another one away. So I have four spinning wheels. I love spinning. And from spinning, I started dyeing my own fiber. And then, of course, I got into these guys, Angora rabbits. I got my first two girls in 2022, I guess it was. And then I adopted another one that needed a home. The person that got Georgie Porgy, their son was allergic to hay. So he was my girl's brother from another litter. So I had three. And then I got Daisy from a farm here on the island, but she was not happy inside the house because I have them, they're in my family room downstairs, and they all have their own pens and that. And she was just used to the farm life. So we took her out to the barn where here on the island, Island Hill Farms. It's a farming experience, and they have all kinds of goats. Like right now, they have all kinds of babies. They're so cute. So you can do bottle feeding sessions, and they have sheep. I bought two Shetland sheep. So hopefully in another couple of years, I'll start having some Shetland wool right for my sheep that are here on the island. Ooh, the hair coming off you, buddy. But yeah, she has sheep and alpaca. I've actually got some of her alpaca away at a mill in Indignish, Cape Breton in Nova Scotia. So they're gonna mill that. So I am going to Knit City, Toronto. So I'm hoping to have the alpaca wool there. That's from Island Hill Farms. And I'm hoping I have a whole bunch more of Rambouillet that I have at another mill getting done. So I hope to have that back for May when I go to Toronto. Knit City. So I hope to have a few different specialties. And of course, I don't have a lot right now with my bunny fur. I've been just having fun spinning it, but I'm going to start getting it milled so it'll be in with the wool. I always get a little bit, but not enough. So now that I have a bunch of bunnies, and we just had babies, so two of the babies went to friends and they got them for free, but they're going to take them to me to be groomed, and then I get the wool. So I'm kind of starting a little program like that on the island. So I'll start to have a lot more Angora. Yeah, yeah, Papa. So he was the papa of that last litter. But yeah, so and something new for me, I just took a weaving course. So in November, so I have started with my weaving guild here on the island. So now I'm a weaver as well. So lots going on. So that's basically me in a nutshell. I'm born and raised on Prince Edward Island. Actually, no, I'm not born. I was born in Hamilton, Ontario, but that's another story. But basically I was brought right back here. So I don't know anything but the island, and my family has all, I should have been born here, but yeah, I just happened to be born off island. But yeah, my family have been here, like the Fergusons. My grandmother's side of the family has been here since 1803, I believe, somewhere's in there. So we've been here for a while, but and I love the island. I never wanted to go anywhere else. My daughter was the same. Uh, I thought she would probably be leaving, but when she was looking for what to do, she knew she wanted to be here. So she went through a lot of different careers trying to figure out what she wanted to do, and given up her favorite, because what she really wanted to do was work for NASA. She majored in physics with a minor in chemistry and math, and yeah, she really wanted to go down to NASA. Uh, she she just loves everything about space, and that I bought her a great big telescope, like for graduation. But from there, she went on and got her education degree, and then now she just finished up with her master's of counseling. So I was really excited when she decided to stay on the island, because I get my grandkids and I get to keep them so often, and I love every minute of it. So now with yarn, okay, the first thing I'm going to let you all know, 20% off with the code Fibre, Fibre. My website is www.redislandfiber.com. So it's 20% off until midnight next Sunday, and that's midnight my time. So if you're over in Vancouver, it's going to be 4 hours earlier. So actually, I'm going to change that. I'm going to put it midnight, even for Vancouver's time zone. So everybody will be able to partake in that. I do have some island wool available. Now, this was, I want to see what this was going to be like. So I do have some of this available. What it was I dyed it before it went to the mill, because I wanted something comparable to, so as you can see, you've got some of this. So once it was milled, it's all done. Each skein is different, just depending on the placement of the wool. So I had two different colors, and each of them had variegations within the color. Because as I was saying, I was looking for something like, oh, I can't even think of the name right now, whereas theirs looks like it's hand spun. So I was trying to recreate something like that, and I think I got it close. So I've got a bunch of different colors going off to the mill next time I send stuff off, but it won't probably be back till the time next year. It might be back. I'm hoping I might get it back by October, but they still have one of my last load, which was mostly Rambouillet, natural Rambouillet, non-super wash. And I'm hoping I'll have that for May for Knit City, but there's no guarantee even on that. Once I pick that up, I'll be dropping off the other, and I'll pray that I'll have it for October for the PEI Fibre Festival, but there's no guarantee. It just depends on how busy they are. If anyone knows anything about our small mills across Canada, all of them are so busy. Like the one that I had the alpaca at Inverness, they just opened their doors. They just took their first wool to be processed in January, and already I don't think they are taking any more customers, because they are at their allotment for keeping them busy for a full year already. And that's just little old, like the Atlantic provinces. So, and there's none on the island. There is there used to be Belfast Mini Mill, but they only did their own. And there is Waste and Harmony, but they only do their own. And then there is McCausland's, but they only do their own. So there's no mill on the island that will do anybody's. So everybody that has wool here on the island, we have to go off island. And there's only a few within New Brunswick, and there's only a few in Nova Scotia. So they're all busy, really busy. So I go to Taproot. This was done at Taproot. It's by Acadia University, if you're familiar with Canadian universities. So that's where that's done. And I've got, like I said, alpaca going to the new place. They can't get it done at Taproot because they don't have a dehairer. And the alpacas need to have that dehaired. A lot of people don't realize, but alpacas do have guard hair. So that all has to be taken out. And there's a special machine that does that. So not all mills have that. So even people that want to get alpaca processed, it's even harder. So there's less mills for that too. But so I am going to have a whole lot back. There are a few that I have online already. This is another one that I have. It's really, I'm in love with this. I actually caked this up. I'm hoping it's going to be enough for mitts for a friend of mine. So I'm making her just normal everyday mitts. And I've got another, where did it go? It's not here. Of course it's not. But, oh, yeah, there it is. So this is something else I have online. I have this roving, and I have this single ply that I had done. And it's a bulky, kind of like an Aran bulky, but it's just a single ply. You can see it there. So I'm actually going to make thrum mitts for my other friend. We have a Nordic spa here on the island. So I'm making them for when we go to the Nordic spa. So, oops, sorry, buddy. So, yeah, but I've got this on my site. It is $15 for 100 grams. It's if you're learning to spin or with a spindle, it's already basically what is it called? Like prepared. Oh, my mind is blank. It always goes blank during these, but it's basically all ready for you to start spinning. If you're a newer spinner, you really don't have to do much processing. If you're using it for thrums, it's nice and thin. You just have to pull some off, and there's your little thrum. So nope, this isn't Rambouillet. This one, I don't have any Rambouillet back yet. Like I said, I hope to have it back for May. I'm really excited. I got all my Rambouillet. I got 100 pounds of Rambouillet from Belfast Mini Mills. If you're familiar at all with the island, Belfast Mini Mill stopped doing their yarn. They're still in business. They still make mini mills, but no, it's a really nice natural fiber. It's a really long fiber. I don't know if I have any with me, but it's a nice long fiber. And it's got, what does it have in it? It's got Romney, it's got Shetland, it's got Wensleydale. It's kind of like a Heinz 57 of sheep. It was Lorna McMasters was a lady that was here on the island, and she had her own mill, I believe. And she created a breed of sheep for what she wanted, and she would mill the yarn. And these are sheep from that breed that are still, and it's like a rugged single ply, which I love. Like, it looks like you spun it yourself. And it does have some thinner and thicker, so it is very rustic. But yeah, so she puts so many together just to try to get what she wanted. So she got she wanted the length of the Wensleydale, which she did get, but she wanted the Shetland, because Shetland's a really nice fiber to for color work. And it's also a really good breed for, it's a historic breed, so they don't pick up parasites like the other sheep. So she wanted that hardiness in there. And it's got a really nice staple, like the crimp is beautiful in the Shetland. My two sheep, I'm just so in love with them. The crimp was beautiful when we got them sheared. So and she got the Romney. Romney is a really nice hardy fiber. I'm in love with it. I would love to get some Romney sheep. And what else did I say was in here? I think there's also some Finn, which gives it the softness. And Shetland, Romney, Finn, Wensleydale. I think that's it. I could be wrong though. I have it written down someplace, all the different breeds that are in it. But it's really nice. And I'll probably end up making some thrum mitts for me out of this, because when I saw those together, I just, oh, that's really bad right there. I thought they were just beautiful. And this would knit up like it just looks like such a, like I said, it looks like you spun it yourself without spinning it. So, but both of those are on. This is 100 grams and it's $30 on my site. And same with this. And all of these, like once they're gone, they're gone. I don't know whether I'll get them. They're from farmers just all over the island that I go and buy their fleece. I buy it for a little bit more than what McCausland's buys it for. So they get a little bit more money for their fleece. And then I send it to Taproot. So you will never get the same, because this one did come all from one farm, and it's all Lord McMaster's without being bred to anything else. And like this one, I'll never dye the same color. So you're never going to get this again. So what I have online is what I have. So if you do like it, I would buy it, and just be prepared, because every skein it's all the same color, but it's all a little unique. But I'm going to definitely, I really like the effect of this. I might even make mitts out of this for myself. It is a 2-ply though, and it's a worsted, I believe. And of course, I don't have that one here. I did, unless it's down here. It's online anyway on my website. I'm sorry, I should know exactly what it is. I can bring it up. I did have oh, there's my tag. I had all my tags here, but they fell. Oh, no, sorry. Yeah, it's a DK worsted. It's 212 yards for 100 grams. So that's this one. And the white one, I want to say it's 100. It is. I'm sorry about this. I have that on the tag too, but my dog was just in here, so he might have taken off with it. I'm just logging in here. To see if we can see it. Products. Of course, I'm not finding it, but it is on my site. Because I remember loading it up here. Okay, it is 120 yards, 100 grams bulky. So that's what that is. And it's Shetland, Romney, Finn, BFL mix, but it does have Wensleydale in there as well. So that's what that mix is. So, and you're going to start seeing a lot more of these PEI different breeds from the island. And it's any farmers that a lot of farmers, it's starting to get around from a lot of farmers that I will buy their wool. And I'll pay if it's good wool, like I will pay for it. Whereas once if you send it to McCausland's, it's just they take everything from North Shavat, Suffolk, and they just kind of mix it all together. And they basically were created way back in the day. They're just so farmers could do something with their wool, and that's what it was, and give them a little bit enough to kind of give them their shear to pay for their shearing, and that's why it was created, and that's what it's there for. So it is great in that sense. So, but for the ones that are nicer, I'll pay a little bit more for them. So, and that's what allows me to keep the price down, because it is more expensive in a sense. I don't make as much off this as I would a commercial. Plus this, I just have to dye this stuff. I do dye it, but I also have to clean it. So I clean it when I get it home. The mill also cleans it because I never get it. My water is not as hot as theirs, so they need to always do it a little bit more to get the oils out, the lanolin. And by the time they mill it, by the time I drive to Nova Scotia and drive back, because our bridge is $50 just to get there. So each time I go, it's basically to drop this off and pick it up. It's $100 just for our bridge, and then it's quite far. It's 6 hours. So you're talking another, with the price of oil right now in Prince Edward Island, you're talking another $100, if not more, of gas. So this stuff costs a lot more. So I do keep it down because I think there's a market for it. And I love the idea that it's island wool, and I'm helping our farmers. I'm all about helping others. Now, what else? Oh, I did show you that. So, do you have any questions for me? Anyone?
What are you going to bring to Toronto?
To Toronto, I am taking, well, I'm hoping, like I said, to have the Rambouillet. Like I said, I have over 50 pounds at Taproot right now of Rambouillet. I have some alpaca that Belfast Mini Mills uh had already dehaired, so that's there. What else do I have? And then of course I'm going to be taking, I have a whole bunch of the eco-processed organic merino nylon sock weights that I'll have there. And something new that I am doing, I bought all of Belfast Mini Mills dyes. So I am switching from what I was using to a different manufacturer. So of course, all my formulas are out the door, and I will be starting fresh. And something else I'm also doing, Troy Martin, that used to be with Belfast Mini Mills. If you ever watched the Belfast Mini Mills podcast, the Worsted podcast, it was Troy and Simone. He is doing some designs for me. So we're going into partnership because he used to do a lot of designs for the Belfast Mini Mills. So he's got, if you saw one of his podcasts not too long ago, he's got a pair of mitts. So I'm going to create kits for everything that he comes up with. So that is something new I will have at Toronto. I'm going to start kits. And I will also, have other kits. I'm going to have kits for this sweater. I did a test knit for the petite knitter. This is her new sweater that came out grain. And oh, if you like color work, this was, believe it or not, it's surprising how quick this sweater worked. And it's the first, I think, ever test knit I did that there was nothing, not even wording, like her pattern, like, yeah, I was really impressed with it because I don't do a whole lot, but I do a few test knits. But I would definitely do another test knit for her. And if this is grain, so if you're looking for a colorwork sweater to do, I do it. I absolutely love this sweater, and I've gotten so many compliments on it. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to try to recreate something close to these colors. I think I can because of how it was dyed. You can kind of see it was a bright orange that's over dyed with black. So it's surprising what you can do with dyes. So I think I'll be able to get something very close to this because I really love this color. And a lot of other people have too, which is surprising. I don't know if Eureka, if you found any difference with customers, but this was my first year. People have like, I love oranges, I love browns, I love like, I have had oranges like this forever. And this year at the Fibre Festival at PEI, they all sold out. I couldn't believe it. I was left with all my pinks and purples, which shocked me. Even my browns, I always have some browns because I love browns, and they were all gone. Like, so I know it was during the fall, the Fibre Festival, but I was really kind of shocked. And even since then, I've been selling a lot more of the fall like colors, even like since Christmas. So I don't know if it's a switch. I know the 2024 color is peach, so maybe that has something to do with all the oranges that I've been selling. So I don't know. I kind of hope it keeps up because I love those colors, but it's a color I don't dye a whole lot of because it's not a big seller for me. Do you find that, Eureka? Eureka?
I find like those trend changes all the time. And Penny probably remember one year at the Fibers West, Penny asked me, like, what should I dye for the festival? And I said, anything but orange, because we really don't sell orange all the time. And then in that show, everything in orange sold. Like, it's all gone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was this year at the PI Fiber Festival. I was shocked. Like, I don't think yes, it did. I was at Tattamagush one in Nova Scotia, and that all sold as well. It was my green, like it's my greens and my oranges and my browns and all the colors in between those, like the tans. And yeah, I was really shocked. I don't know. So we'll see what this year brings, but because I find it's usually my pinks and purples and teals and aqua blues and navies, and those are all are the colors that sell more so than everything else. So yeah, it's different. But anyway, this year I will have a bunch of different, you're showing your butt to everybody, buddy. I will have a bunch of different kits. So I'll probably have them and take them to Toronto. But then after that, I'm going to start producing them for my online, like at Red Apple or Red Apple, redislandfiber.com. I used to work at Red Apple when I was a teenager. I guess some things never leave you. So yeah, so after the Toronto show in May, I will start carrying kits on my site. I've already talked to Lisa K. Ross. I do her knit alongs every year. So this year I'm actually going to have a kit for hers. I love her patterns. I love how she does it. I love that she has a really good sale when things first come out, and it kind of allows everybody to participate because I know everybody can't doesn't have the money for, like, I love Stephen West. I pay the price. His aren't too bad, but I know there's people out there that just can't buy patterns. And I love that she puts it at such a discount that anyone can really get them. I think it's like $4 or $5 Canadian, even. She's in the States, but it's usually pretty cheap when they first come out. So I love that aspect of her business profile, that anyone can purchase her patterns, and at different times throughout the year she'll have pattern sales that are really good. And I love that. Like, I buy patterns all the time since COVID. I don't know what everyone else is like, but I wanted to really support my peers with all the designers out there, and because I knew that's what they lived off of, and they lived off of going to Fibre festivals, and that was one way I could do it. So I started buying patterns. Now I have to get out of that because I bought a lot of patterns, brought more patterns than I'll ever do. And so I have quite the extensive pattern collection in Ravelry right now. But because I wasn't buying as much, because with being an indie dyer, I wasn't buying yarns from other people. I still bought the odd skein here and there because I find myself sometimes knitting with my own cut, like my own yarn. It almost feels like it's a job, because it's either I'm knitting with it because it's a reject, or I'm knitting with it to show somebody what the color looks like. So I like sometimes buying other people's yarn, and it's more like a treat for me because it's for me. It's for nobody else. It's for me. So that's one part of my journey with being an indie dyer. So I still support other um dyers out there. Like, I'm sure at the Toronto show, I'll buy a couple of skeins here and there from other indie dyers out there. You'll probably see me at your booth, Eureka, Eureka, buying something, because I just I love supporting. And like I said, I love knitting now with other people's fiber. It's a treat now for me to do that. And it's my treat when I buy it for somebody else, and it's like my little secret project, and it's mine. So I don't know if you're like that, but that's how I am. So yeah, so you're going to see a lot of kits coming up, and hopefully a lot more PEI wool coming up. Hopefully I'll continue that. It will be worthwhile. It's been expensive so far getting into it and trying to get a stockpile right now for um Toronto, because I'm kind of scared of that show, because I'm not playing in the big gals pond like others. I'm still just a very small independent dyer. It's just me. I do it on good days. I have a bad back. I'm on long-term disability, so I dye when I feel good, and it makes me feel good. And that's kind of how my journey started. I always worked. I had a very active teenager. So after I had an car accident, and after my car accident, I did work for 7 years afterwards. I did my best. My doctor and everybody wanted me to not go back to work, but I did. And I'm glad I did. But once I stopped working, it was quite the adjustment, because I'm not used to not doing anything. And depression set in. And hence, that's why I started dyeing. My psychologist said, try knitting. Because before I used to quilt, but hand quilting was my thing, because that's what my grandmother taught me. And I learned very young. And it was my upper back that I fractured multiple different vertebrae. So to hand quilt with the way you're kind of, one hand is up in the air and you do this rocking motion. And it was just something I wasn't able to do anymore. And I've never gone back to quilting, because I know you can get it machine quilted, but it wasn't, it, it, I don't know, it just felt like I was cheating on my grandmother. It was kind of, that was our thing. And I just haven't been able to do it without the way she taught me. So hence I started knitting, and then of course dyeing, which I I totally love. I love doing it. There's some back-breaking stuff within it, but I have my partner and he helps me for stuff like that because I'm not able to do it. Some days I am. Summers I'm a lot better. Winters I do a lot less because the cold really affects how I am feeling. I can feel it in my bones. So, but any other questions out there or
Okay,
yeah,
Stephanie was asking, will the alpaca be blended with wool?
right, the stuff from Taproot, I believe she's going to blend it with the Rambouillet, but the stuff that's at Inverness, that's going to be pure alpaca. But that I do not believe I'll have back in time for Knit City. You'll probably see that online in the summer or at the PEI Fibre Festival. So but that will be pure alpaca. So I hope to always have like a mix of it because I know some people like the pure alpaca and other people like it mixed. There's some people say it has to be mixed, some people don't like it mixed. So I'm gonna go in between and do both. And I do have the access to the alpaca with my friend that we kind of partner. I do a lot of demonstrations out at her barn in the summer if you're ever on Prince Edward Island. So it's just 15 minutes outside of Charlottetown. And it's Island Hill Farms. And they're also online, Instagram, Island Hill Farms, and they have alpaca. So some of the alpaca you're going to be seeing will be hers. Right now, I did buy, I think, maybe 30 or 40 pounds of alpacas from Belfast Mini Mills. So it won't all be hers, but after that, there'll still be alpaca from her. Oh, and something else that I have available. I don't have the roving right here on me, but I do have, actually, this is a lot nicer than the other stuff I took a picture of. It's just all in bags. This is mohair. So I have it's raw mohair. It's sturdy. It needs to be washed. And it is $30 a pound. And then I also have it in the roving, pin roving like this. And it's $30 for 100 grams. So if you're a spinner, or you could actually use it for thrums too, if you ever wanted to dye it. I don't have it dyed. I haven't decided yet whether I have a bunch of it, so I don't know whether I'm gonna have it all on my website as is, and I might dye some, or whether I'm gonna send it off and have it blended in with some Rambouillet or Merino to make socks. Belfast Mini Mill had my favorite sock yarn. I would buy their sock yarn a lot. The mohair roving is on my site right now. But they had a sock. It was merino, mohair, and I guess that was it. And I loved it because mohair is just a lot stronger than the merino and it's longer staple. The only problem is Taproot is going to experiment with it because for them they're not good at blending two different length fibers. So they said they'll do the best they can and they'll do a trial and see what it looks like and whether I'm happy with it. And I'm hoping I will, or I do still have a bag of about 50 pounds of Rambouillet. I might just send 50 pounds of Rambouillet, 50 pounds of mohair. And I have another bag of merino, but I guess that's smaller. But I might send some alpaca with it too and get that because they're all about the same. Because the Rambouillet is a little bit longer. I'm in love with it. I've started just spinning with it as is. I just have the clean, dark, long locks of it. and it's not even in roving is how I got it. And I am so in love with it. It's I have like it is I have a bag of the merino, and there is a difference, but not much of one, because it is technically considered the French merino. A lot of people do call it, and it's to me it's a superior product in the sense the longer your staple, the less pilling. So that's why a lot of times mohair will pill, because it's got that shorter staple, so little things will pop out and it'll brush it and pill it. So yeah, I am really loving this Rambouillet. I cannot wait to get it back. And it'll be, how much can I part with and how much can I keep? How much can I mess up on my dyeing that I get to keep the rejects? Um, so, but the mohair I have right now, I do have more. Like I just put on, I think, 20 of each. If you happen to want more than that, I do have more, but once it's gone, again, it's gone. I'll never be able to get it back, especially get it back for, and yeah, it's just something we don't have in that quantity on the island. And even that price, like I bought some mohair when I was over in Tatamagouche last summer, and I think I paid $10 for 10 grams. Like I think it was $1 a gram or something like that. It was, so yeah, it's just a small little pile, and it was dirty. So in the Atlantic provinces, stuff like that, we just don't have a market. We don't have the product available that I could get something like that. But right now I do have a lot if anyone wants to get it, or if they want more, if it does happen to sell out, I will be putting some more on. But again, once it's gone, it's gone. That was just my luck of being able to get that from Belfast Mini Mill. Is there any other questions?
Okay, Monica's asking if you're going to get more of those cute needle stoppers.
I am. I have a great big order in. I do have some that I don't have online right yet. They are packed away. But I do have a bunch. I will actually, I can probably dig those out and put them up tonight. Or I guess I should say tomorrow when there's better light for me to take pictures. So if you want to wait till tomorrow, I will put some up. Or if you're placing an order, I can add it in and refund the taxes. Actually, you don't even have to refund the taxes. If you put it down as local, it doesn't charge, not taxes. Sorry, I don't charge taxes. I don't make enough. If you put down local, it won't charge the shipping. So I can just put it all in with the shipping from your other product. If you want to order something tonight and then put in your notes that you're ordering some when I get them on, that you may order some tomorrow, and I will just add them and put local. So I don't know what I have available. I just have not dug them out since my last Fibre festival. I had it all ready. I had a one that I was going to in December, but the weekend it was supposed to be my uncle passed, so I wasn't able to make it. He's an uncle I was really close with. If you've ever seen my posts on Instagram, like the cottage that I go to, it's actually my family cottage. I grew up there. But my aunt bought it from my grandma and grand when they passed, and when she passed, my uncle, of course, her husband had it, so he used to let me go out and stay all the time. And yeah, I was really close, and I was close in other, like he was, yeah. But anyway, that's besides. But I don't even know why I got on the subject. Oh, because I was going to, so everything was packed for that, and I just put everything away, and I haven't really looked at it since, because that was the first weekend in December. So I will dig them out tonight and I will put them on tomorrow. Everything else, like the yarn itself, is all on there, because all I had to do was I had unactivated everything, put everything as draft. So I just had to reactivate everything, which I did. So, and I go down and dig it. I dig through it whenever someone places an order. But Yeah, so I will put them on tomorrow for you. And the 20%, well, they will be included in it.
Okay, one more question from Jennifer. And she says she's newer to knitting. And what's the difference, pros and cons, between using the pure alpaca versus the mixed blend?
A lot of people, well, even alpaca itself, you can get alpaca that is very straight. There's not a lot of crimp in it. There's other alpaca that has a lot of crimp in it. So the straighter the alpaca is, the less, like when you go to stretch something, it's not going to stretch back. Like it just, you stretch it out and it just stays then. So that's the big difference, whether it retains its memory and doesn't just, I don't know if you've ever, or you've probably seen shows where they put on a sweater or something. I can't think of the show, but there's one show and the arms just keep getting longer and longer. There, and that can happen with some wools. If you're, there's different ways to, like, there's some you want flow and some you don't. Now, pure alpaca, to me, that's like the most gorgeous for a shawl because it's just so flowy and soft. But it also still has like a little bit of a halo. But the big difference is the memory of it. And yeah, and there are some brands you can buy some alpaca wool and you'll say it has memory, it's fine, but it doesn't mean that the next one's going to have it. I don't have it here because just the alpaca that I have, I know I have some of my own, and it's crazy how, like, one you would almost think it is Shetland because of the the crimp in it, and the other one it's just you hold it there and it's just straight down. And I don't find alpaca as pilly as something like mohair, or not mohair, sorry, merino. But it also all depends on how it's constructed. Like there's what type of wool, what type of wool do you get from your bunnies? That's Angora. There's there's Angora goats, and that's what you get mohair from. But bunnies, like these are all English Angora is what I have. So they're all Angora. So it's really soft. It's take some, I think those are more his guard hair than anything, but I find it's really strong. I am loving the Angora. Um, Unfortunately, I'm using a lot of it for my own personal use but you can see a little bit of crimp there. And he actually has really good, no, that doesn't help. Um, he actually has really good crimp. Look how flingy it is for a bunny, for an Angora. He was an expensive bunny. Uh, his parents and grandparents are first in class champions with different shows they've gone to. And so he's got a really nice crimp to it. I have my two girls, my twins, I call them, or my girls. They don't have, yeah, it's really hard to see. They don't have any crimp at all. They are just straight. So as they grow, they're really straight, whereas he does have crimp. So he would have more memory with his yarn once you do it up. It's going to be a bit more springier than my girls if their wool is in something. But it's so soft. Like it's so soft, and I mean, natural wool, I love it. And this, I mean, it just naturally cleans itself. Like it all you really need is water. Like a lot of, like I remember my grandmother washing her wool blankets. She didn't wash them. Winter was when you clean them and you put them out when it's a snowstorm. So I remember going out in the snowstorm and putting our wool blankets and socks, and you just put them in the snow and the snow would fall on them, and then we would take them in and dry them over the wood stove. So, and that's all she ever did with, and that would be like, I remember Grampy having wool long johns and that he'd wear underneath his, like when he went out shoveling or doing whatever he did outside. Like, so yeah. And merino is, or Angora is a lot like that. Like, look how white that is. And all is I have to do, if he gets dirty, I brush it a little bit and it comes right out. I mean, you could take a little bit of water and it comes right out too. Like, I mean, it's just so easy to clean. And I love it. It's just like a cloud. That's what they're like. His two daughters that left yesterday were, oh, they were just like a cloud. They were so soft. Because, well, they're babies, but oh, but he's still so soft. Like, I just love his wool. And yeah, his wool hasn't gone into anything else. And yeah, so that's one thing you're going to see a lot of in the coming years is wool that I'm getting done. I hope to, maybe through friends that want to have bunnies here on the island, I'm hoping that as I have more Angoras, I'm going to get two more, another breeding pair, or at least another female from the same rabbitry in Toronto when I'm up at Knit City there. You can see it all floating around. So I can have some more, and I'll be looking for friends here on the island that want Angora bunnies, and I will, they take them to me, I'll take care of them, and I get the wool and they get the bunny. So they get a cute little bunny and I get the wool. So it's kind of like a win-win because they don't have to pay for them because they do. I do sell like the ones I've purchased. Well, these guys were more than 200. My girls were 200. Look at, but yeah, it's not even ready. Like this is like I just sheared him a month ago. But not that I shared a lot off because most of it was spun off. I love spinning right from him. He just sits in my lap. Um, he has another probably 2 months to grow before it'll be like probably 6 inches when I cut it. So it'll be nice and long. It's a really nice long staple. But yeah, so yeah, the program. So if you're on the island, if you're interested in something like that, reach out to me. So, because I give them the bunnies for free, and yeah, I take care of them, so you don't have to do anything. And yeah, so yeah, I'm hoping to have enough that I'll eventually just have 100% Angora wool, some of that as well. So we'll see.
Okay, Jennifer's asking, how many bunnies do you have now?
Myself, like downstairs in my family room is where they are. They each have their own little pen. I keep, they're not in cages or whatever. They're in like a 3 feet by 2 feet or 4 feet by 2 feet pens. I just have cardboard underneath them and I change that out. And there's Georgie Porgy, and then in another one, their pen is a little bit bigger. I have the girls, Isla and Nova. And then I have Zinfandel and the mate that I got with him, Dahlia. So they're all at home. And then I have Daisy at the barn. And two of my friends took, I've got Preston. One friend has the little boy. He's a black, little, like beautiful black. Oh, his coat is so beautiful. So that's Preston. And I have a girl, and I can't remember her name, with another friend, and she's also black. So I'll have some black Angora going in as well. So that'll be a really nice combination when that goes in. It's going to be like a silvery. And when I dye that with the white fiber, that is usually what it is, it'll make a really interesting different contrast with the coloring just because of the two different tones. So I'm looking forward to that. So yeah, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bunnies in total and 5 with me at home. It's a lot of work. I have to change 5 different, actually I've got to change more than that because Dahlia has He has two litter boxes, and so do the girls. Georgie just has one, and Dahlia only has one. So 4, 5, 6 litter boxes is what I change every evening. So, and I brush them and blow them. I blow them every day, or I try to. There's odd days that I miss. And I do, I, and they prefer to, believe it or not, grinding their nails. So I do, they sometimes I'll miss one here or there and I'll have to, I just use fingernail clippers actually on their toes. But I have my little, it's just a little tiny grinder and I use that and, and then brush them. I usually, when you're blowing them, I have like a professional, like you'd see at your dog groomers. So I have that. And when they have shorter hair, I don't have it on as strong, but then when they have longer hair, I, I turn it up a little bit more because you want it to really blow everything apart and you can see where there's knots. So a lot of times like him, he rarely has knots like or mats. Like he's usually perfect. He gets a little bit just around his face and that's from just eating and drinking. But other than that, that's it. And same with Dahlia. But Georgie Porgy and the girls get a lot. So I will blow them, see where the knots are, and then I brush them out. Like here's the brush. It's just a slicker brush you use. And when you brush, you don't even touch the skin. You're kind of just going up. So you don't touch the skin because the knots should never be that close to the skin. I mean, if they are, I'd probably cut them, but it's usually, so I'm not even touching them with the slicker brush. I don't know whether you can really, it's just like a motion like that. I just have a few fingers on it. He never needs it though. He needs a little bit around his bum, but that's it. And yeah. And I have lots of this. Sometimes, like for him, you can see there's some vegetation in there. The blowing usually gets it off. There's some with him and Dahlia. A lot of times I will give this to felters to use. I'm sure some people spin with it too. I used to throw it out and someone was like, what? But, and it is good fire. Like I could technically spin with this. Drafting, that's what I'm doing. So like that could be fun. But I generally just give this away to friends in the fiber community and either they're spinners or they're felters. So, and they get it because I don't have time for everything. So, yeah, so I share that with them. If you are on the island and you'd like to try a little bit, let me know. And I can save a bag. Now, his and Dahlia's are the best because really there's generally no mats. I'm just doing a quick little brush here and there. I don't usually get a lot from them. Whereas with the girls and Georgie Porgy, a lot of times what's coming out is more the mats, which gets the dirt more in it. So it's not as nice as his. And theirs isn't nearly as soft as Georgie Porgy's and Dahlia's. And again, talking about the crimp, they Georgie or Zinfandel and Dahlia have crimp, whereas Georgie Porgy and the girls don't. There you can kind of see if you really look, like there is crimp in there. It's not straight. But yeah, I actually enjoy grooming them most of the time. I will do their nails and do the brushing like that just downstairs on my couch as I'm watching TV. So I usually spend an hour in the morning and I usually spend an hour in the evenings. And whether I do the litter boxes in the morning or do them at night, but that's kind of my routine with them. I find if I change the litter boxes every day, it's just a lot easier. And yeah, and in the summertime, I grow them fresh greens and there's a marketplace not far from me. And when they get in organic carrots, like, and they'll get like bags of them. So they save me all the tops. And these guys love the tops of carrots. Believe it or not, carrots are not good for bunnies. they've got too high of a sugar content. They will eat them, but they're not good for them. So they could have a little bit here and there, but it's not something you should give rabbits. Rabbits should only be fed leafy greens. That's it. Now, Georgie Porgy, his previous owner did give him what is it called? An apple, Honeycrisp apples, which he really shouldn't have. But anytime I do have a Honeycrisp apple, I will take a little slice and I'll take it down to him. And you can tell, like, he might be in his little, because he has a little house. He might be in there sleeping, and all of a sudden you'll see the nose poke out, and then he's on his hind legs, like looking. He knows that's a Honeycrisp apple, and he knows that's coming his way. So I do that for him. I don't give it to the others. I might take down some lettuce for them. Like right now, I have some lettuce up here. He was actually chomping on that little one. You can see even his hairs, I don't know, poking around. But so he's got lettuce up here. Lettuce is really good for them because it also gives them the water content. With Angoras, I also feed them. I actually get it from Agri Co-op, and it has the highest fiber content. So you need good fiber you need a the best, like the higher fiber, the better for their wool process, because their wool is only going to be as good as what they get fed or and how they're treated. Same with sheep too. Like anyone that's in business for wool with sheep, you have to treat them well and you have to feed them well to get good wool. You can tell in sheeps or rabbits, like if they get sick, there's like a line you can literally see. Like I've bought fleeces from people just across the island, and one I might pull out, I'm like, oh, that sheep was sick, and you could see where it is. It's really interesting. So when people worry about how like their wool and how animals are treated, they have to be treated well to have a good quality wool. If they're stressed, it's going to show up in their wool. It's really amazing how it is, but it's true. So for all my bunnies, they have to have like a good diet. There's different types of hay. You can get like your class A and your class B. Your class A is your fresh cut when they do hay, the first cut of the season. So it's all your tender grass basically, and clovers. So that is the best for the bunnies. Whereas your class B it's not as delicate and soft, and they don't like it as much. So I always buy class A, which costs me a little bit more. So yeah, that's a little bit more than your question, but yeah, that's my bunnies. I love them. They are my piece. So are my dogs. I have 2 miniature schnauzers as well. Love animals. So is there any other questions or anything else?
Okay, that's all I see in the chat. Thank you so much, Mandy. And let me just stop the recording.